Okay. And you just keep doing this 4 or 5 times. Some people do 6. 1, 2, 3. Just keep it dressed up, keep it tight. That's 4. I'm just gonna do 4 today because it's so hot. But you could do 4 or 5 or 6. Then you get it all pulled tight. And then you come over and you just start going. I think they call this frapping, maybe. You go around this and you go over it. You pull it. And a lot of times a lot of people will take a stick or something like this and put on your line, wrap it around your line, and you can really pull this like that. And you do about 2 or 3 of those, then you come over to the next one and you do the frapping. And I may not be pronouncing that right. I should have dressed that a little bit tighter. Right there, you want to keep your lines close, but it's pretty good. And I'm gonna come back over here and do one, just because that's the way I like to do it, and then tie it back to that loose line, that tail that was hanging. Just gonna tie a knot like that in it. And that's the way I like to do it. So there you go. Now I can pull it up like this, do like this, and I got a line hanging down. And if my cup's not too hot, let's see if I can normally you'll make a cup hook, which I gotta make later, a pot hanger. But temporarily, I'm just gonna, whoop, that won't work. So I don't have to tie, that pot's hot. I don't wanna have to. I'm just gonna tie this on it right now. Been learning a lot of knots. You could tie that adjustable knot that you can slide up and down. Okay, you can do like that. Let's see, let me get my gloves. My fire's dying down, but it's still gonna show you how it works. There's my water that we purified today. We'll hook that right there. And that's a pot hanger. It just ain't a fancy pot hanger. It's just a real quick that I just put together in 2 minutes. Phew. And you can make this thing go way, way, way out like this and get it down low. Reboil that water. That's how you lash a tripod. Not here to mess with me. I think I'm gonna make my tent stakes out of these. Let's see, I just got me a knife out of the house. It's kind of like a Mora, but it's just a older one. I think it's actually one of these from Walmart. It's just like $5 or $6 that they use for fishing. But anyway, I'm gonna make my bucket hanger out of this. I cut this down there. It's got this limb coming out, and it's just about, I don't know, it's probably about 1.5 feet, 2 foot long. So I'm gonna put notches in it that I can stick a straight stick up in the fire, and then you hook this on it, and you'll have like 3 adjustments for it. But anyway, I'm gonna whittle on this, and then I'll come back and I'll show you. Okay, I'm gonna go around the end here and put a half spear, like a bevel. I think it's called a half spear, or that's what it's called on the tri-stick. Give it a little, just just shape this end up right here, the end of the pot hanger part, and I'll probably do the same thing to the top. What I need to do, and then I'll put the notches in it, like an X shape. It's hard to see it in this one because the wood's so dark. You always want to be real careful cutting right here. You make your X shape, then you curve, you cut all this out up to that, so that you'll have this. Got my X like this and like this, and now I'm just taking this material out. Okay, I'm getting it cut out. See, just I'd made an X on it like that, both ways, and then I'm just cleaning all this out. Okay. See, I've already got a band-aid on. I did that with a pot hanger a while ago. Good thing about a camera is you can cut that stuff out. You got to be careful with a knife, especially if they're sharp. Luckily, I just nicked it a little bit. You want them to be straight. This one's got just a slight crook in it, but it's still pretty good. What you want to do is sharpen the end. And different people put different kind. I don't want it to be too sharp because it'll just dull, but that's good enough. And then on this end, because you're going to be hitting it with something, you want to take and go around and bevel around the outside so it won't. Try to keep it from just right around the edge. Put a little notch. That way it won't feather out when you're hitting it. This will help it not to do that. And then you can put that like that pot hanging notch that I just put on there. You can put that on here, but I just leave them like this. But I may put I'll have to look up on there and see what that is. That little half notch. I may put it in here just to help it. But you can put whatever you want. I don't think there's not enough fish. Okay, I looked, it's called a saddle notch. So I'm just going to put a saddle notch in here. It's just a little half moon notch. I guess you could put a V notch, whatever you wanted. Or you could just not put nothing at all. I think the biggest thing is just have the point and bevel the top so that it won't and when I make my tri-stick, I'll have to put this saddle notch in there and the V notch and all those, but I don't want to make nothing too deep because it'll break. But like where the string is, if you're using a string, you know, a little saddle notch or something be good to have in there. Again, you don't want to get too deep. Because you'll weaken your steak. I'm just going to put this little saddle notch in it. So there you go. I'm gonna make one more tent stake because I want to, and then I'll demonstrate them later too. But if you want a point, you can put you some kind of notch in it and just come around the top and bevel the top where you're gonna be hitting it with your axe or whatever to drive it down into the ground. You just want to bevel it a little bit. And then mine's probably about 6 or 8 inches long, but you can make them whatever you want, maybe a foot or so. Alright, I'm gonna make this other one and then we'll work on the tri-stick. Okay, didn't take long to make that one. Now I got 2. Both of them's got a little saddle notch in them, got a point, and I bevel the tops so when you hit them they won't splinter out. I got my pot hanging stick. Now I got this piece of cedar that I cut, and I'm gonna try to start working on my tri-stick. So as I get on it, I'll start showing. I think you can see it. Getting there. I got my saddle and my straight 90 notch. My round one, I got to trim it up some, and I'm working on the square one right now. So, and I got the little bevel on top. It said you could do a straight one, like the top part of your, like doing a bow drill, or like round it off like it was the bottom part of the bow drill. So instead of having a sharp object, I figured I'd just round it off like the bottom part of the bow drill, like the part that goes on the board. They said you could do either. And I think the other side you put the flat, like what you did hang the pot on. I think it's what goes on this other end. But I'm gonna keep working on it and then I'll show it to you. But it's getting there. So I got my bevel. I think it's my saddle notch. It's my 90. I gotta make this a little bit better. It's not good and round, but I can touch this up, dress this up a little bit better. But and then I got my square. I don't know what it's called, but I'll figure it out and I'll let you know. Getting a lot of shavings down here. Okay. Uh-oh. Okay, there's that one. So this one I'm getting a little flatter, but now I got to figure out how to get a square hole in there. So I don't know if I just ream it out and then start cutting it. That may be what I try to do. I got to be careful. I don't want to get this too thin because I don't want it to. I need to get my multi-tool and I'm gonna try to just put it on something flat and take the point and just hit it and see if I can't like get me a good notch going here. I got it on there and hit it. Then I got my knife blade to go all the way through, so now I can tell on the other side where to. Gotta be careful with this knife here. I'll mess around here and jab myself. I got my tri-stick finished. It's running out of gas with my camera, but I got the square hole in it. Got the whole thing done. Got my stakes. Got my pot holder. So, and I got a whole bunch of mess to clean up under me up here. Anyway, that's pretty cool. I always wanted to make one. I'm glad I did. So it's got the bevel up here, saddle, the 90. That's a symmetrical and a square, a V, pot hanger, and I'm not sure what this one is. It's flat with a